Hi, I'm Joyce,
And I'm Adriel.
and we are Divinely
Divinely
Guided.
Guided.
How are you today, Precious?
I'm alright. How are you?
I'm good. You seem tired.
Sorta.
Sorta. Back to work after, well, you worked some last week, though, didn't you?
I mean, I worked pretty much every day last week. I mean, there were 2 days that I had off.
So you did
Then
half
I
the
had
week.
I had a half day.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I'm not really tired. I'm just in a space where I need to.
You need a long time.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we will not tarry then, so you can get to your space and what you need. I have to say though, a belated Merry Christmas. We hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas week. How about you?
It was pretty good.
What was your favorite part?
I'm not sure.
I thought you was gonna say the Christmas Eve party.
That's fun.
Mm-hmm. So, but you're not sure that was your favorite part. Well, what was your favorite gift?
I don't think I have a favorite gift.
You didn't have a favorite?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, very well. The Scrooge didn't enjoy Christmas too much.
I liked Christmas.
You enjoyed the eating.
I did enjoy the
We
food.
did eat way too much. You did some great cooking too.
did.
You did. But anyway, as you all know, we have been, for an extended amount of time, been talking about mother-daughter relationships. And we've kind of been talking about them in reaction to an article on developing the mother-daughter bond written by Dr. Rachel Glick. And so we have talked about some things that help to build that mother-daughter bond, but at the same time would help build any relationship, wouldn't you say? Mm-hmm. And so today we are going to continue on with that, but just as a very quick reminder of some of the things we've talked about in those relationships, leave room for individuality. Build the common interest between the two of you. Spend time together. Learn to listen to each other even when you disagree. Allow your relationship to transform from strictly mother-daughter to adults. Accept each other without judging. Appreciate each other openly, which I just absolutely loved because, again, I thought about how you do so openly appreciate everything that I do for you. And I love that. And so today, now that we've talked about those topics, she also had an addition to the article where she did a special note for daughters, which we will go over quickly tonight. And then we will end next week on a special note for mothers. And in her special note for daughters, she had 3 areas. And we will just kind of go through those quickly and move on. The first one was consider trusting. And I love it. She starts out by saying, when it comes to listening to your mother's guidance, consider trusting. Consider trusting that she birthed you, that, she cares for you. Consider just trusting that she might have your best interest at heart, or she might even know what she's talking about or has gone through something similar. And sometimes you can't fully understand where mom is coming from, but those are the times when trust has to come into play. And then she says, even when you are not sure that you trust or that you understand where she's coming from, at least consider what she has to say. So at least think about it. So what are your thoughts on that?
So I think personally for me in our relationship, I think it's important, and I've said this before, but this is like a main thing that I've been working on for the past couple of years, is just not to take advice personally. I don't even want to say advice, but like when you're telling me something, it's not because you think I'm dumb or incapable. It's because you want what's best for me. Right. So I think it's important to remember that people come to you concerned about your well-being because they care about you, not because they think you're just too stupid to be able to function. And so I think for me, whenever I remind myself of that, I'm more inclined to want to listen to what other people have to say.
Mm-hmm. And I love what you just said because it is so true. Whenever we give advice or thoughts, it is not because we think that you're stupid or that you are incapable, because I know that you are a highly competent individual. by no wise stupid, have many great skills and traits and abilities and insights. But it is always just thinking of ways to help make life even better. One of the things I think that is very difficult for parents, and it doesn't get fully discussed or sometimes not even fully appreciated, is that we are trying to prevent our children from dealing with some of the pitfalls that we had. So we're sharing a lot of times from our own experiences. But at the same time, we have to be aware that just because something worked out for us one way doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work out for you in that same manner.
Yeah.
So we have to, be aware of that when we're giving advice. But it is coming from a place of just trying to keep you from having all the same struggles that we've had. But anyway, so she says, consider trusting. The second thing she says, I think is very important though. Even when you're trusting and you're considering what your mother might have to say, or considering and knowing that she ultimately has your best interest at heart, still you have to be willing to follow your passions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to, your mother's thoughts and opinions might be your point of reference where you start from, but you still have to follow your own unique passions and follow your own inner truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that is something that you're really good at. Why you look like that?
I feel like I'm usually pretty good at it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're great at it. I mean, because you are, and the more you mature, you're getting more and more in a place where you seem very comfortable following your unique passions.
Yeah.
And you are very unique is where you used to always say, do you remember? You said, I'm weird. And I said, no, you're not weird, you're unique.
Yeah.
Do you remember us having those conversations?
Yeah.
We used to always have them because you have always been very unique. And ultimately, that is true for whomever, for all of us, really. We have unique passions. We have our own inner truth. We have to be able, at the end of the day, be able to live with ourselves and the choices that we make based on our inner truth and our unique passions. Yeah. So we have to be confident enough to go with that, to trust our own instincts after it's all said and done. Because ultimately, we have to satisfy ourselves and our God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, late at night, nobody is in your ear but yourself and your God in most cases. All right. And then the third thing she says here is kind of cute. It's not you, it's her. And this is, again, she was talking to the daughter. It's not you, it's her. And she said sometimes moms can be critical. And so she's like, for those daughters who have a critical mom, who can sometimes be self-absorbed or imbalanced, that, the daughter have to remember, okay, everything that's not right or perfect or ideal in this relationship is not necessarily a reflection of the daughter. Sometimes it's a reflection of mom and some of her own personal issues that she needs to work through.
Yeah.
And when you, as a mother, start to realize and recognize some of those imbalances or issues that you have, it is up to you. It is incumbent on you as a mom to deal with those issues so you don't start to push it off on your daughter.
Yeah.
Your self-reflection, if you're not careful, you start, putting that off on your daughter. So sometimes mothers really have to work with that. And there are a lot of unresolved, we talked about this before too. A lot of times we are dealing with unresolved trauma in our own lives. And if you're not careful, I've heard people say you will bleed all over everybody around you from the hurts that you've endured or the traumas that you faced. So when you recognize that those traumas exist in your life, you need to deal with those so that you don't unintentionally hurt those around you.
Yeah.
So sometimes that is the case when it comes to mothers and daughters. I try not to let my traumas bleed over onto you all. But I'm sure sometimes you do feel, mommy's in a bad mood today. Let's stay out of her space. You chuckle. Can you relate to that, Adri?
A little bit.
A little bit.
But I think that's one thing I'm actually good at.
Uh-huh.
Is like working. I feel like I've gotten really good at working through trauma over the past couple of years. And so I hope to continue that.
Yeah. I think you've gotten really good at that too. But you have very deliberately worked on yourself
Yeah. I have.
for quite a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, very deliberately. I tried to plant things in you, but then you took it next level and said, well, what can I do to deal with some of the things that I see that I need to work on in me?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you constantly do that. But in the section where she's talking about it's not you, it's her, one of the things she says is you have to, as a daughter, learn to respectfully and firmly set those boundaries. As an adult daughter, you have to set those boundaries and teach your mom how you need to be treated.
That's true.
And how do you feel you do with that?
How do I feel I do about boundaries?
Yeah, about respectfully setting those boundaries on how you want to be treated. How do you think you feel about that?
I feel like I try.
Well, you don't think you're successful?
I try. I don't know. I can be kind of prickly when I feel like my boundaries are stepped on.
You can be very prickly.
Yeah.
Like a little porcupine.
Yeah.
When you feel like your boundaries are being stepped on. Yes. But I do think that you are good, and you're getting even better at respectfully establishing the boundaries on what you need from me as an adult.
Yeah.
I think you do that. I think you're doing quite
I'm
well with
improving.
that.
I'm improving.
Yeah. I really do. I think you do that probably better than most of the other young adult women your age.
Yeah.
And I think maybe part of it is because I'm open to you setting those bounds, but a bigger part, I think, is just you working, all of the work that you have done on yourself. You know what it is you want and what you need and what works for you.
That's true.
And that is something I think that's very important. A lot of times we're not really clear on what we need and what we want from a mother-daughter relationship or any relationship.
Yeah.
And so then you end up getting stuff you don't want because you've not been very clear on what you do want.
Yeah.
And what you do need. And that's something I can even see in myself. A lot of times in relationships and in circumstances, I end up not getting what I really need, but I haven't necessarily verbalized or communicated clearly what it is I do need.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of times I feel like I'm caught playing a role that has been assigned to me.
Yeah.
Rather than necessarily saying, no, I need more of this from you, or I want this out of the relationship. So kudos to you for learning early what you want and working on it. Because I think a lot of people just live life by default. They don't.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Yeah, just by default. They don't they're not very deliberate in establishing boundaries or establishing what they want their life to look like.
Or who they are.
Or who they are.
Yeah.
And all of that impacts relationships, all of your relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that is very good. So special note to daughters, we talked about consider trusting. Even if when it comes to listening to your mom's guidance, sometimes you just have to trust that at least I'm going to trust you enough to listen to what you have to say. I'm going to trust that even though I don't fully agree or fully understand, I'm going to trust that you are looking out for my best interest. And while I'm trusting and listening, I'm still going to learn to follow my own passions.
Yeah.
I'm going to appreciate, acknowledge my unique passions, my inner truth, and I'm going to let those things be my guide. And then sometimes the daughter has to say to herself, it's not me, it's you.
Yeah.
She has some unhealed trauma that she needs to deal with, and it is bleeding over onto me. So I will learn to firmly but respectfully set boundaries so that your hurt doesn't become my problem.
Yeah. And there we go again with the whole not taking things personally thing, because your trauma and the way it affects me is not this personal thing. I think as soon as you realize how much stuff is not personal, it changes your perspective on everything.
I agree.
So,
And then I think a lot of times when you say it's not personal, I see that a lot of times with people, everything they feel like is an attack on them.
Yeah.
It really has nothing to do with you.
Yeah. And I feel like you let go of so much stress and so much of the stuff on your shoulders when you just realize this has nothing to do with me.
Right.
So I feel like that's healed me in a lot of ways to just realize that. So
that is so mature of you to come to that place.
yeah.
Yes. All right. Well, I know you are in in a hurry to get back to your peaceful place, because I know you were doing your yoga earlier.
Yoga.
Did it relax you?
It was quite nice.
It was quite nice.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So we're gonna let Adria get back to her yoga, and I need to get back to bringing order to this chaos.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. You got a lot going on.
I do have a lot going on. I have a lot going on. I need to learn to balance that in a better way in this upcoming year.
Yeah.
And can I just openly confess something to you, since we're talking about, dealing with trauma?
Yeah.
I don't know why, but for me, birthdays are very traumatic. They bring on, and it's already started for me.
Well, I mean, I've noticed that.
You noticed that in me?
Yeah.
My birthday is Friday,
Yeah.
and I have already started. The depression is too strong a word for it, but that sadness, that disappointment has already started creeping into my very being for Friday. But for me, and it's crazy because on my very logical side, I realize birthdays are a blessing.
Yeah.
Because there are so many people who never reached my age. I have classmates who have been dead for a long time. I realize that in my life I have been greatly blessed, and even more than I deserve, because if God had given me only that which I deserved, I would be in a terrible place.
Yeah.
So on my very logical side, I know all of that. But on another side, every birthday is a reminder of failures, things I didn't accomplish or I haven't done, or and anyway, I know it's a terrible way to look at it, but I have not yet gotten to the place where I can totally not look at it that way.
Yeah.
So anyway, so give me a little grace this week, because you realize your mom is struggling.
Yeah.
Because it's birthday.
For me, I don't know. Failure is a weird thing, because to me it's only failure when you stop. I just feel like no matter what it is, if like you really want something, it's failure when you stop going for it.
When you stop trying.
Yeah.
And my logical side can see that and fully agree. But then there's a little irrational little girl somewhere lost in the middle of this very rational mind.
Yeah.
That is real black and white and very rational 90% of the time. But somewhere in there, that little girl does exist. And maybe that's part of my trauma, that I never got to be the irrational little girl. So she resides in there somewhere. Like, I'm sick of being rational and saying I want to just be irrational and overly emotional, which is totally not who I am.
No.
But she's in there somewhere, and on my birthday she flares up. All right, but anyway, we've gone on too long. But anyway, so we hope that you will invest in your relationships. Remember, so much of it is about communications and respect and setting boundaries and being willing to listen. And again, we've said it over and over again, but it's true. It works in any relationship. So in a relationship you want to strengthen, start employing and using some of these strategies that we've talked about. Anything else you want to add?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, I'm going to let you get back to work on what you're working on, and I'm going to get back to work on some of all of these different things I got going on and all these messages that are coming through on my phone and all of that. All right. And we hope that you all will take some time out to enjoy yourself and take care of yourself in this week coming up. Why, Adri?
Because you deserve it.
You absolutely do. Good night.
Good night.